This life of the Christian is a life of delight and joy and gladness. There's nothing in the text that leads us to believe that the merchant is made to be in this profession. No, the idea is that the merchant's full passion and desire is to find that great pearl and to own it as his own. It's life-consuming. His heart is full of the thoughts and practice of how shall I trade? Where will I go next? Who shall I contact? How many nautical miles will I sail this year in order to find the greatest of pearls? He loves his job. He's passionate about it. And that describes the Christian life. Or it should. It should. And brothers and sisters, on this side of glory, we know our weaknesses, right? Where our worship services, where they be public or private, our families or whatever the case may be, riding privately in our own vehicles and whatnot, our heart should always be ready to express joy and gladness and thanksgiving to our God. But that's not always the case. It is so easy to allow the contemporary events of the day to have such a negative effect upon us that we get consumed by them. And we begin to worry. We worry about our politicians. We worry about the Supreme Court. We worry about our council culture. We're worried about all of these things. Who will be the next tyrant? And beloved, I'm not saying those things aren't important. Well, they certainly are. But they do not take precedent or priority over the joy and love of the kingdom of heaven. And we have to be diligent to watch for that migration that comes into our lives, and we find ourselves coming into worship with cold hearts. We find ourselves coming into worship with hearts really not prepared to celebrate his goodness and glory and salvation. It's a total life, beloved. The life of a Christian is not to be synchronized with other philosophies and worldviews, and it's not a life that we can just pick up and put down when we choose to. For that's not real Christianity. And our Lord was a prime example of this. Our Lord's zeal for the salvation of God's elect. Our Lord's zeal for the kingdom of heaven. What did Jesus say? I come to do the will of my Father. I can do nothing else.